Building strength and size in your legs can be one of the hardest things to do as a lifter, not only because leg training is just more overall fatiguing than most upper body exercises, but also because more than one muscle will control most joint movements in the legs, making them more difficult to overload and therefore more difficult to grow. But using proper technique and a well thought out training program should help us to make some pretty good gains in our leg training. So today I'm going to break down the first lower body day in my 4-day upper body lower body split program. So to jump right in, like always, make sure to warm up following ramp protocol, which means to raise, activate and mobilize, and then potentiate, beginning with 5 to 10 minutes of light cardio, which will help your body take advantage of something called the Bohr effect, increasing oxygen delivery to the muscles. Then activate and mobilize, working the muscles and joints through their full range of motion, before finishing off the warm-up with some potentiation or using lighter weight reps of your first exercise that builds towards your working weight. Once you've finished the warm-up, the first exercise is going to be 4 sets of 4 to 6 reps on the barbell back squat. Just like with the bench press in part 1 of the program, we want to choose a weight that we'll be using for all 4 sets, aiming to get 6 reps on each set. You should be stopping each set just short of failure, so if you can only get 4 or 5 reps, then that's fine, but you won't add weight until you can get all 4 sets for all 6 reps at the chosen weight. The main things to focus on here are to take a deep breath into the abdomen just before you lower the weight, pushing your stomach into your weight belt if you're using one. Try to move the bar in a straight line down and up, and utilize a hip hinge in the movement just as much as a knee bend to keep the weight of the bar directly over the foot the entire time. And remember that with squat, we want to hit a depth of at least parallel, since glute and quad activation will be significantly higher in a deep squat than in a partial squat. Now for exercise number 2, we're going to be hitting 3 sets of 8 of the barbell hip thrust. The hip thrust uses hip extension to target the glutes and hamstrings, and unlike the squat, which places the highest tension on the glutes at the bottom of the movement, the hip thrust will continue to keep the glutes active all the way through full extension at the hip. This is an especially good glute builder because of its capacity for loading, allowing you to work at significantly higher loads than most other glute exercises. When setting up this lift, you're going to be sitting on the floor with your shoulder blades pinched and up against a sturdy bench. The barbell sits over your hips with the feet slightly pointed out around shoulder width apart and the knees at a 90-degree angle. From there, you use the bench for leverage as you lift the weight up into full extension at the hip, then lower the weight down and repeat the movement for the number of reps. And you can change up this lift a bit with 5 different variations described in this paper by Brett Contreras and colleagues. You can change up which variation you use in this workout on a week-to-week basis, but if you're new to the lift, I'd recommend beginning with the standard technique before advancing to methods 2 through 4. Next up, exercise number 3 is going to be walking lunges for 3 sets of 8 reps each leg. The walking lunge is similar to the squat with how it loads the quads and glutes, but is a unilateral exercise, meaning it works one side at a time. This can be good for fixing any strength imbalances that may exist between your right and left leg, strengthening the stabilizing muscles of the hips, and fixing any bilateral deficit that may be present. To perform a lunge, take a step forward, shifting your weight onto the heel of the front foot, and then bend at the knee and hip to lower yourself down, stopping just before the back knee touches the ground. Drive your weight back up by pushing through the heel of the front foot while simultaneously bringing your back leg up and in line with the other leg, and then repeat this process, switching legs each time. Exercise number 4 will give our quads and glutes a bit of a break by moving on to our knee-based hamstring movement, the pronated leg curl for 3 sets of 10. This exercise is pretty simple since you just curl the weight up at the knee, but for the first 6 reps of the exercise, we're going to have our feet in a plantar flexed position to help isolate the hamstrings, and for the last 4 reps, we're going to move our feet into a dorsiflexed position to allow that gastrocnemius to assist. And one more small thing that I personally think you can do to better isolate the hamstrings is to keep the glutes flexed at the top of the movement to avoid the hips lifting off the bench. Exercise number 5 is 3 sets of 10 of leg extensions. Leg extensions work the quads with the hips in a fixed position, allowing the rectus femoris to do more work than it can in a squat or lunge, since it's the one biarticular quad muscle. To do these, you just want to extend the legs to lift the weight all the way up, and lower the legs all the way down, reaching that 90-degree angle at the knee without letting the weight lower all the way back down to the weight stack. And the last exercise, number 6, is seated calf raises for 3 sets of 10. Since we were able to work the gastrocnemius a little bit in the leg curl, I opted for the seated calf raise. Since the flexed knee position makes it more difficult for the gastroc to help with the movement, it puts more of the load on the soleus, which is the other calf muscle that lies deep to the gastrocnemius. Training the soleus is an important and often missed part of people's calf training, and not including it in your program can make it much harder to make progress with your calves. So thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Go subscribe to my channel. Keep an eye out for part 3 of the upper lower body split, which will be out soon, and I will see you for the next one.